Peace, 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 peace. So, I guess that's right. Yeah. Yep. I wonder why it's so dark. Let me get some light going on. Hold on. Dark in here. I don't know why it's so dark. That's weird. Oh, I couldn't see. Duh. All right. We back. We're going to finish this up, and then we're going to go to the next topic, and then we're going to be done, family. So, as we stopped off, we're highlighting the forgotten cause of the Civil War, family. So, neo-Confederate historians consistently argue in the popular press that the Confederacy fought not for slavery, but for states' rights and against some kind of federal tyranny or tyranny. But Tenzer shows that it was northern states who exercised their states' rights by passing personal liberty laws to nullify the effects of the federal fugitive slave law. This law gave the accused slave, who could be white, no rights to bring witnesses, have a jury, or any other form of due process. There we go again, talk about that due process. The judge was authorized by the law to receive a large fee if he ruled against the accused slave than if he ruled in his or her favor. Why do liberal historians refuse to publicize these facts when they totally devastate the neo-Confederate nonsense about an abstract devotion to states' rights? How, Moors? You see that science? It's right there in your face. Right there in your face. Other academics, such as Werner Scholars, have noted that abolitionist literature consistently emphasized white slavery. And it's hard to find an abolitionist novel that doesn't feature quadroons, octoroons, etc. I hope you know what that is. If slavery was justified by race, shouldn't a white slave be free? Tenzer unearthed the pro-slavery apologists who seriously argued that slavery, white or black, was justified, and the institution didn't need an inferior race to justify its existence. If historians acknowledge that the South's intellectual defenders were willing to promote slavery as superior to free society and openly suggest that poor northern laborers would be better off as property, who happens to the South's glorious lost cause. So what happens to the useless argument about how much northern whites like or dislike blacks, or the neo-Confederate nonsense that the presence of black, actually wealthy mulatto slaveholders, proved that slavery was not the cause of war, family? And finally, Tenzer researched antebellum Republican political literature to show that the threat of white slavery was used by Abraham Lincoln's party to galvanize voters. Morris, the Republican Party activists, Lincoln included, knew that Northerners had good reason to fear the South and its insatiable need for more and more slaves. Southern pro-slavery apologists constantly stated that their slaves were better off than free white laborers in the North. More than that, the pro-slavery intellectuals defended slavery as a good in itself, regardless of race and color. Moors, you see that? While the current fashion is to argue that Southern states were merely resisting the tyranny of a federal government, we forget that the South effectively controlled Congress and the presidency of most of the antebellum period. Northern whites had seen the Fugitive Slave Act shoved down their throats, the male censor, and the expansion of slavery into territories. Moors, Abraham Lincoln wasn't the only one who knew that the nation couldn't exist half slave and half free. It would become all slave or all free. If slave societies had triumphed over free society, who is naive enough to think that greedy slave owners would have used their power to add many poor whites and Indians to their human property? And once we acknowledge these facts, Moors, what happens to the cherished myth of both liberal and neo-Confederate historians? It's gone. I'm telling you. Man, we gotta research this. So that's We're gonna get right to the history. And I'm gonna get to the other piece of science and we done. So the next part of history we're gonna talk about is, I told you about the degree of the feds, okay? So we're gonna talk about a little history of this feds so we can keep things on the right perspective. And I'm gonna jump around a little bit because I wanna get to this last part and we're gonna be done. And I'm explaining all the feds. Let me bring them all out so we can know. So we can know what all three of these phases represent. Moors and my empresses. I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna explain some things to you today. And I want you to study and research it so you don't get caught up in someone arbitrary explaining something. In truth and on your square. My empresses, my Moabites, we got to know this. Now watch, let's dig. Let's give a little science real fast. We're going to keep it slow. So, I'm just going to give you what a fez is. A noun, plural, fezes. A felt cap, usually of red color, having the shape of a tourniquet cone and ornamented with a long black tassel, worn by men in Egypt and northern Africa, formerly the national headdress of the Turks, meaning they took the fez for their headdress, not meaning they originated it, Moors. You got to know what etymology is. So we got to know these things. The fez is all through history books on all indigenous people. So we can know some science. I'm not going to go through all this, but I want you to look at this. I just want to give you some history of the topic. And I want you to research, get some of the literature and study it. So let's get back to it. What this fez is about. The trying of the geometric, that Moabites, that Moorish fez. So we're gonna give a little history, and I'm gonna get done with this and jump to the topic, and we're done. The fez is an ancient and modern national headdress of the Moabites, the Moors. The fez is a brimless headdress, most commonly produced in scarlet with a ebony black tassel Moors. The red fez is matched by the red field displayed in the Moorish national flag. The fez is also produced in black and other colors, indicating the meaning or social positions. Indicating the meaning or social positions. You feel me? So, we're going to talk about the black fez first. One of the highest degrees. See, when you went to high school, they just kicked you out. This tassel is all about wisdom and knowledge. The longer it gets, 12, 18, 24, depending on your knowledge and your education and your wisdom in all crafts. The black fez is worn by the mufti or the Muhammadan judges, the beys, the Moorish United Front towards Islam or Islamism, enforcement and security. The one who wears it symbolizes that he or she knows law in full. He or she knows law in full, the black fez, and is able to defend it. Including knowledge of martial arts, defense, physical and spiritually. Physically and spiritually linked to the martial art degrees of a black belt, Moors. The fez is worn as a symbol of the womb. The fez is worn as a symbol of the womb, Moors. Are we watching? This is the black fez. You must understand how to defend the law, physically and spiritually. I hope we know what that's talking about. Peace, noble. Is linked to the same martial art degrees. This tassel, everything means something. My empresses, the Eastern Star is you. The daughters of American Revolution, they won't teach you this, but I'm going to teach you this. This you. You should be wearing your fez, empresses, and your turban. Don't let no Negroes tell you no different. All these turbans are yours. These fezzes are yours. So let's finish. So the black fez, when I say it's enforcement, the beys, you see, Islam, the one who wears this symbolizes that he or she knows law in full. Knows law in full. Knows law in full and is able to defend it, including knowledge of martial arts, defense, physically and spiritually. Physically and spiritually, Moors, linked to the martial arts degrees of the black belt. The fez is worn as a symbol of the womb. So when you hear brothers going around telling empresses and our Moabites that they can't wear the fez, that's a lie. Because this fez represents the birth. That's that 9, Moors. Let's finish, man. This ain't no clandestine. This ain't no European masonry. This is for families. The fez is worn as a symbol of the womb. The top of it has a nipple shape. Here go your nipple. You see that nipple, Moors? That's that nipple shape that symbolizes the navel. It symbolizes the navel. The standard of this tassel are 360, having 360 degrees of knowledge. At 360 degrees of knowledge. You see the European, theirs is tied down. Theirs is tied down because it's political and religious. They wear it in clandestine. So that's why I say, brothers, you say you Moors and this. Why are you not wearing your fez and your turban? You wearing a baseball cap. Do you know the history of Ferdinand and Isabella? Strip these indigenous people of their turban and their fez and their sandals so they can think they Negro, black, and colored. Come on, man. The tassel is not pinned down as it is in secret societies. So when I talk about secret societies, European masonry, you see our eye, it's not covered of no triangle. We didn't take no oath. So secret is nothing secret. It's sacred, meaning we take it dear to heart. So get things right. The tassel is not pinned down like secret societies, Moors. It's properly free-flowing. The free-flowing tassel is indicative of one who is born of the womb, endowed with an aspiring and beyond 360 degrees of knowledge. When I tell Moors, 360 is just the total sum of material wisdom. That's the exoteric. But 720 is the total sum of both spiritual and material wisdom. Are we clear, Moors? We navigate upon the earth, and our potential is not limited. Our potential is not pinned down. Our potential is not kept secret. However, it is sacred. Sacred, meaning we take it dear, meaning we serious with this, meaning I don't play with this science. I don't go around playing. When Moors be walking around calling themselves some gangster Moor, that ain't what this about. We're noble men. We're law-abiding citizens. But you're not understanding the high science of that. You have the right to travel to do business. You got to understand state law and local law. No one is explaining it to you. No one is explaining the science to you. But we just get something and run with it, and then we get in trouble. Because you got a fez on. You think you can go to court and say, I got a fez on, I'm free. Or I see brothers, like I said, I was at a court case because I'm getting my PhD in Indigenous People Law and Policy. And I wear my turban and my fez everywhere. And I saw a brother come in with his fez. You lost the fight. Is that your name? Yes, but it's in caps. But is that your name? Yes, you lost. Understand that. So that caps means nothing, Moors. Because I'm telling you a business, no matter if it's caps or lower cases. But that's science. You don't know that because you just go on YouTube. Whatever. But we must navigate upon the earth. So I gave you that. Now, I'm going to talk about, you probably can't see for my black one, so I'm going to get the white one that our empresses should be wearing, and even us, we should be wearing. So I'm going to show you this right here. You see those 4 sets of air holes? You see those 4 sets of air holes, Moors? You see those 4 sets? Let's teach this what it is. The 4 sets of air holes are equal to the number of the woman, right? 9. And to add 13, the number of times a woman cycles per year, which is in tune with the cycle of the moon. I hope we know this science, Morris. That's why when I go back, our science is everywhere. Clarence X, that's why I said all true people when they left, Khalid Muhammad, they knew, like, this ain't no black Islam stuff. Yes, you are more. The story of the 999 is supreme mathematics. I hope we know this stuff, Morris. It's all science. Supreme math, 9 to the 9th power of 9. It's all here, Morris. You must be willing to learn and be a student. If not, it ain't nothing I can do. If you want to go to, when you go to school, when you get taught by the European and you get connotated, you pay for it. You go to college and you get the degrees, you pay for it. So now I have a school and I have the right degrees. Brothers don't want to pay for it. Clarence X was under the Nation of Islam, but he found out they were teaching wrong. He was like, wait a minute. All the documents I show you when they were teaching about nationality, when they had cards, the 5%ers, the gods of earth, they taught that God is the so-called black man was God. We taught this. Khalid Muhammad, they understood this. Brother Malcolm, they understood that as they traveled nationally, you were fighting the wrong fight. So we're talking about the 4 air holes equals to the woman, the 9, and add to 13, the number of times the woman cycles per year, which is in tune with the cycle of the moon, Morris. Right? Exactly, Moore. So you can find this in your lessons that I give. And my students, I only got like only my Instagram people. I only have like 3 people that's students. So my students know. They know I teach the science from no biased place, from no religious perspective. I teach history and law. I'm a scientist. I'm a doctor. So I'm not going to practice a malpractice. I'm going to diagnose you the right way. That's what we have to do. We have to correct ourselves. We're trying to get back to something. So let's get back. The fez is the natural headdress of the Asiatic Moorish nation of North, South, Central, Al-Morocco, Al-Morocco, Americas, including the adjoining islands. So let's get down to more. Let's talk about this whole more. Let's get all this stuff. So the fez is typically red, felt, or indigo, and black tassel. This is the white one that the European daughters of the American Revolution wear. And I tell my empresses, I said, you are the Eastern Star. They're not going to tell you this. That's why when they go in, they turn to the other way. It's all about you. And we playing. That's why when I say the woman is Maya, the garden that produced food and life, the mother and the son coming together. I mean, the mother and the father come together to create the son. That's the real Trinity. Come on, man. The fez is the headdress of the ancient ones. You got to research who the ancient ones. Get the history of the empress of the Washington Moors. If you can't get that document, I have the book, but I also have all the documents. This in the Library of Congress. You can follow this stuff. It's there. The fez, the Moabites, the Moors, also spelled M-U-U-R, is a geometrically formed to represent the eternal zodiac. The body of the fez symbolizes the womb, Moors, of the cosmos, and the womb of the woman, right? The mother, the 1 inch final, which extends out of the center of the fez, is the number 1. I hope y'all know this, man. You got to know the science. And the 9th letter in the phonetic Moorish alphabet is also symbolized the navel, or the eye, Moors. The cord from the eye, the cord from the eye, the cord from the eye symbolizes the universal umbilical cord, the umbilical cord, the umbilical cord, the umbilical cord of universal life, of universal life, of universal life, and represents the oneness of all life. It also represents the tie to the source of humanity, the Zodiacus Moors, the first woman. I hope we know this science. The circular round, or the ball Moors of the tassel represents the mundane circle of earth. The cord wrapped around it It's a cord wrapped around that ball. You see that? It's a cord wrapped around that ball. You see that, Moors? You see that? Look. It's wrapped, the cord wrapped around the strands. Hold the form of the circle. It represents the unity of life through the zodiac constitution of humanity, Moors. It is of the zodiac, the highest law, the authority in civilization. The zodiac crown of light, the national headdress of the mothers and fathers of the human family. The human family founders of civilization and masters of the cosmos, masters of the science. Third 33 and 360-degree master masons. Let me say this again. When I be telling my brothers and sisters, 33 is no science. That's just a level above freezing. We have 99. That's the ancient primitive rite of Memphis and Mizraim. I teach this science. Third 33 and 360-degree master masons and Eastern stars, my sisters, Eastern stars. You don't have to join no European masonry if you're under the right auspices and you're being taught the right Moorish science, because you get that in the temple. Because you get that in the temple. You get the 32 and 33 degrees. That's when the prophet gave us our turban and our fez. If not, I don't know what you're dealing with. This is a part of the hidden truth, family, which has been buried in the dark corner of the north gate. The north gate. The north gate. Keep that sign there talking about the north gate. The north gate. The north gate. If you want to be a student, you can get the science. I got all the history. I got all the books. I got all the literature. I'm just a teacher. I'm a master teacher. You don't see me putting titles on myself. I teach this to everybody because this is all law. And I operate in love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth. I have over, and I'm not bragging, I have over 500 lectures I've done over the years at universities. And it be packed, and they all pay. And everyone using the science, and they operate in their higher self. That's why the Europeans operate in their higher self. That's why the European masonry, that's why they operate in the higher self. They know this science, but we don't. We just arguing over religion. And you don't want to be science theosophist. You don't want to be that. You don't want to understand language. I think this, and my man said, forget what my man said. You don't have to think. You must know. So where are we at? The Fez Moors, symbolized of the eternal zodiac, is also called a what? A Tarbush, a Corona Soul, and other names, which describe what? That royal status, Moors. That royal status. So wearing of the Fez regarding Masons of clandestine orders. When I talk about clandestine, people wear it in secret. When people wear it in secret, here go another book. But I authored all my books where I combine and gather all the science so it don't be all over. If brothers is willing to get my literature, it's only $33 each book. And I have them PDF, my books, for $16.50. I combine all the science and make it easy to read. You can follow it systematically. You don't have to think. I have the Moorish Islam, our divine creed, our adapt chamber lesson, the Sufism, the triple role of the adapt chamber. It's all there in my literature. I give it to you. So let's finish. Let's finish. Wearing the fez regarding Masons of clandestine orders. Clandestine orders. Wearing it in secret, politically, religiously. Fez is also the name of the old Moorish capital and the city which is located in northeast Morocco. Moroccan, and Moors are one and the same. Pedigree and people, family. I hope we know this. America is a dialectical corrupt of the name Al-Moroccan, Al-Moruk, which means descendant or descendants of Moroccan. Family, when I show you stuff, I hope we researching this stuff, man. And I'm not just here blowing smoke up my own rear end. It's words that we should know. When I say you must study systematically and have a good teacher so you don't get caught up in linguistic apartheid. Research what an autotoxin is. Research what an autotoxin is. It's right in the books. They have to write the history down. It's a noun, a plural, autotoxin. Autotoxin is rooted in Greek. Let's break it down in syllabus. The auto equals self. The noxin, either earth, soil, autotoxin sprung from the earth. It's right there. It's right there. Come on, family. So, the lack of consciousness of law and history on the part of so many so-called NBCs, and like I said, Negro, black, and colored, especially those so-called Masons in the Prince Hall, they don't know any science concerning the, and I'm not hating, I did a lecture at the Prince Hall. They know any science. I went to all of them. I'm sorry. I go to the Prince Hall here and I teach the brothers. They all went and got their science from the European. They had to ask. They had to ask to get their science from the Europeans. I will show you the literature, and they don't know that all the 99th primitive right come from Memphis and Mizraim. The European came to Egypt and got the science. That's why when they teach it in the history books, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, that's all opinion. That's not real. The indigenous people didn't teach nobody. They didn't write this stuff down for them. And we get connotated. Let's finish, Moors. Let's finish. We can know for sure. Where we at? Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, concerning, I mean, blah, 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 black and color. Okay, blah, blah. Concerning the history of the Americas, has stagnated or retarded ability of their own hoodwinking. Been hoodwinked when I tell brothers and sisters. Not all of us, some, and even some that know the truth and won't teach it. So you've been hoodwinked, connotated, arbitrarily explaining something. Is Fez the city in Europe? Is Fez the national headdress of the Europeans? Or is Fez the national headdress of Moors? Just a question. Who is wearing the Fez only by ritual? And who should be wearing the Fez by right of natural dress and culture? Don't let a person get you connotated in explaining words only one way. When they say ish, ish is similar to, but not original. But they're not giving you the other explaining of what ish. Ish means the food. Ish means the clothing. Ish means the lifestyle as well. So when a person explaining something, they have to explain both, because words has duality, and the person will get you caught up in their spell because they're not willing to explain both. So you can make a sound judgment, Moors. Come on. How we know this science? Who is who in the great controversy of who is worthy to wear the fez and who is not? Who is honoring their ancient mothers and forefathers and who is not? Who is denying connection to Ruth, the Moabites, and who is not? So when I'm talking about Ruth, that's why your so-called preacher won't teach this. They won't talk about Priscilla. They won't talk about Ruth. They won't talk about Tamara, all those Moabites. They're just giving you some European connotated story and not telling you that the biblical book is just a history book of genealogy. That's it. You getting taught the wrong way. You being taught the wrong way. The biblical book is a map. It's a geography map. Europe, the continent of Africa, a Kebalan. That's it. You been let somebody get you with paganism thinking it's wrong. And if I show you reverse, man, it's just too much history that you can know. And I don't even have time to go there. If you was a student, you would get the lessons. So let's finish. Okay, I gave you that. I said, who is denying the connection to Ruth, the Moabites, and who is not? By the way of recognizing or not recognizing the origins of the great philosophies and the wisdom found in the halls of learning called what? Masonry. You getting connotated with people not knowing the science. Oh, there's some European stuff, all this Illuminati, all that's bull crap. Abracadabra. That's all Kabbalah. The Baphomet written Kabbalistically. The Temple of David. You got to understand this science, man. It's all about you, Moors. Everything is more science. You just don't recognize it because it's yours. And the people not teaching it the right way because they're trying to put themselves on a pedestal. I'm just a teacher and I teach. That's it. So Masonry is a system of disciplined learnings. When I say how you call yourself a Moor, a master navigator, and you don't understand the craft. Moor is the pedigree and nationality of the direct descendants of the founders of civilization and the ancient high science culture. Gnosticism. So when we say Moorish, don't let nobody connotate you like, what you mean Moors? I'm a Moor. Or that means similar to, but not original. Yeah, in one aspect, where you got to understand how the word is being used in a proper context, but also ish mean the whole dynamics, the fashion, the wear, the food, the culture. Just like black. Black is always not negative, depending on the context. Because when you get closer to the sun, it's black. Melanin is black. That's carbon. Come on, man. So stop playing and become a scientist. So I said, Moorish, the pedigree and nationality of the direct descendants of the founders of civilization and the ancient high science, culture, Gnosticism. So when I talk about Gnosticism, when you see people with the square and they had a gene, what that mean? God, no, that mean Gnosticism. That mean the secret religious wisdom. You must teach this. Exactly, bro. It's all science. We gotta Moors cannot study one thing. You must be an alchemist. You must understand the science. You must understand arcana, what to mix together to heal yourself. You must know what herbs you can put together to heal yourself. You must know what food you eat. You must know how to diagnose yourself. If you don't understand what arcana is, how you gonna heal yourself? If nature connects with nature, so if what's above has to match below, how are you gonna use what here comes the earth to heal yourself? Are you gonna go take some pills? You're gonna go take some GMO? I teach this science, man. Alchemy is all about mastering yourself. You're the goal, changing your chemical makeup, operating in your higher self, mentally, spiritually, and religiously. But exactly. So let's finish. The Masonry is the high culture. When I talk about esoteric and Gnostic system of learning Moorish history, science and culture, hold on, babe, literary and factually, which was forced underground and veiled in allegorical stories. That's how they put the stuff in the Bible. They put them as allegories. Come here, honey. I want to show that. They put them as allegorical stories. So you got to know it. When the biblical scripture says, my thoughts, not my word. The allegorical stories are underground and veiled in those stories. Mysticism, signs, and symbols. When I get the signs and symbols of the primordial man, but I wanted to show this. This is what my wife doing. We do literature and pictures. Something that my wife doing. This is one for one of her friends. And she made the same jacket for her. She made a blue jean jacket with the picture on the back. So we do custom things, and we're going to get our page popping off real soon. But we do real things. Thanks, Empress. Let me get this book real fast so I can show you. You got to understand this science. Signs and symbols of the primordial man. Get away from that spookism. Get away from that spookism, Moors. Get away from that spookism. One more I'm going to show you. We're going to get back to the science. So if your brother's not willing to teach, I'm a scientist. This what I teach. This is not a joke with me. This is not a joke with me. I'm a teacher. If you don't have the evolution of sacred Moorish science, past and present, you got to teach this. You got to teach it from the right place. And be talking about, oh, you ain't ready for this. How a person ain't ready for it if you're not willing to teach them? Because you master yourself. That's what this is all about. I don't master you. You master you. I'm not nobody's sheep. I'm a master teacher. I teach the ones that want to be taught. And if you take this science and implement it into your bosom and your hippocampus, you will master everything. I promise you. Because you will operate as a noble man, a noble woman. So let's finish. Okay, so I said the Masonry is the high culture, the esoteric. When I tell Moors, you must understand the esoteric and the exoteric and the Gnostic system of learning Moorish history, science, culture, literary, and factually. That's why when it's Moorish, not just similar to and not original, but the culture, the food, the literature, the dress, everything, which was forced underground and veiled in allegorical stories, like I said. So the word clandestine is an adjective meaning secret, concealed, sly, underhanded, superstitious, accomplished by improper means, or stealth. As a clandestine plan or act, seeking a benefit with fair, just, or proper compensation, participation, or input. So they want the same recognition as you have. The European nations, they have their parades, they doing all this. The science came from you. I'm telling you. And then you're going around arguing with your brother about what this color fez and the European wear they fez, they operate, but you're not arguing with them, but you argue with your brother. A brother can wear any color fez they want to if they know the science. Red, blue, orange, purple. I don't care what color fez you wear, what color turban you wear. Get out of that stuff. Get out of some man telling you something. All of it's yours. Don't let nobody get you caught up in their connotated explanations of things, scaring you. You're supposed to be walking on your square. And if you stand on your square, you should be able to explain everything eloquently with a silver tongue, standing on your square without arguing and prove facts and history. And they'll bow down. I'm telling you, that's what the European Muslims do. They're sons of Muslims. They're sons of Muslims. I just taught at the Prince Hall. I went in there and everything is right. I'm a teacher. Nothing is clandestine with me or secret. Synonyms of the word clandestine include hidden, furtive, covert. Clandestine is derived from an old Moabite Moorish Latin word called clandestinus. That's why I tell Moors, you got to understand, you got to research Moorish Latin and start connecting the dots. When I tell people Christian, all that stuff is Greek. The root of Christian is Cretan. The root of Christian is Cretan. So research what it means in the medical field and in general. That ain't the name that you gave yourself. That's the name somebody gave you that was stepped on their neck after Serapis Christos, the Greek pharaoh that made himself a pharaoh in Egypt. And then you also have who? Caesar Borgias, the Italian replacement. So I hope you understand history. So many have been mistaken to think that the Europeans, and no disrespect to Europeans, because I have European colleagues. So I want y'all to be I want you to be sure when I say European, because there ain't no such thing as white person, black person. When I say European, it's a person from Europe, and you have people that's Aboriginal. It's just law. Or from America. It's just facts. So to think that the Europeans who wear the fez in secret are the originators of the fez. They are aware of the meaning and the purpose of the fez. Exactly, more than Cretans. Cretin. You got to research what that means. That's why when I say dumb Cretans or dumb Cretans, not being disrespectful to someone, but that's the title they put on you. Just like Negro, black, color, they gave you a name and we never research it. When we think somebody talk about the Hellenistic Jews, you don't even research what Hellenistic mean. Hellenistic is the Greek language. Hellenistic is the Greek language. Get your 1828 dictionary and look up Hellenistic. And you be like, oh, I see how this go. Abracadabra. So they are aware of the meaning of and the purpose of the fez, as it's worn, as its crown worn by those of Moorish nation, which represents the matriarch embodied and represented in wearing of the fez, which is the science of the universe, the workings of the nature and natural order Moors. This is one of the reasons why our prophet Noble Drew Ali said they live off of our virtues, and why some describe them in the allergy or the allegorical explanations as vampires. Not real vampires, but somebody that sucks something, suck your royal blood, and who cannot come out into the light of the sun or the sunlight of truth. Like Carter G. Woodson said, we've been miseducated. So our miseducation has led us to misgiving and to a dark and ignorant place, Moors, of what? Not knowing. That's why we suffer from a lack of knowledge and argue against each other as the origins of many things, including the fez. Look how many soul brothers you see that is arguing. I teach science. I don't care about what a person talking about. I don't care about, man, a lot of stuff don't even make sense what these brothers doing. It's a joke. It's not no game. More science is not no religion. Come on, man. We teach this. Many think that the fez belong to the Turks. It don't. If you get the history of the fez, study it. By one of our brothers, Cosmo L. He wrote a lot of books. I also authored a lot of books too. But it's here. It's here. You know? The Ottoman Empire being active into the world wars. The wars. I gave it to you. Well, the Ottoman Empire. I gave it to you in its history. In the history of Anna Isabella. George Washington stripped them indigenous people of the fezes and their turbans and their sandals. It's here. It's history. One of the biggest wars in history was the war of Ferdinand and Isabella. I'm going to show you all this stuff. I'm going to show you all this stuff. We got a little time. We got a little time. We got a little time. So the Ottoman Empire being active into the world wars, which coincides with the 40s, we're in COINTELPRO charged Moors of the Moorish Science Temple, claiming they were in cahoots with Japan against the United States, an abstract. Others think the Fez was originated and belonged to the pale Arabs of today, without knowing that original Arabs are Moors. That's like when a person say Arabic. That ain't nothing, you just speak Arab. Arabic, Jews, that ain't nothing. Arabs are Moors, and some sold each other out into slavery, even while wearing the Fez, as they do today, or attempt to do today. Ain't nothing's, like I said, the same thing happened yesterday and today. Brothers killed brothers. My homeboy was killed by his brother. My younger brother, kid, was killed by a Negro. So I don't get caught up with that brother man stuff. You ain't my brother if your heart ain't right. I don't care if you wear a Fez. Don't make me no different. It's the way we live. It's the way we act. We are law-abiding citizens. This is why Noble Drew Ali told us, be careful, Moors. Some of your own will put you back into slavery. For real, Mo. A lot of stuff we don't know, and I said, because we don't study law. Something that Obama said in 2010, you have the right of a nationality and the right to change it. Brother just arguing over, well, Obama did this. I said, man, he can't tell you everything. The law, the color of the law works if you understand the law. Because ancient law is law. Moorish history is law. I promise you. The European use your science. That's why they call themselves Masons. It's your science. If you look up on their fez, what's all on their fez? Al-Morocco, Islam, Al-Maruk. But you arguing with your own brother. Ignorant. Ignorant. It's pictures, if you research, pictures of the European on their fez, Islam, Morocco, all that stuff. They're not only wearing the fez, but written on top of their fez. It's Islam, El Bay, Muslim, or Morocco. Reach it up. Research this stuff to show that they are in fact aware of Morocco, the empire, and the subordinate kingdom. They are aware and practice Islam and know the true meaning of Muslim, M-O-S-L-E-M. They know the true meaning. And they are aware of the 5 noble titles, Moors. They know this. El, Bay, Day, Al, and Ali. I know y'all know this. That's why a lot of them Nation of Islam Muslims, Ali, they ain't telling you the truth. They ain't Fire Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad studied under our prophet Noble Drew Ali. If you looking at the pictures, David Drew, he right in the corner. He issued identity cards in the 30s and 40s. The document I showed you where all of Nation of Islam has this history, man. If they don't want to act like it, because I don't know. It's all in here, the science. When I'm talking about the 4th of July and all the history, and the real flag, all in the literature that those Nation of Islams, they passed this stuff out. They passed it out. I'm telling you. It's all here. Let me show you something. All about our prophet. All about the real dates of the 4th of July, how the temple was set up. And the 4th of July, the Independence Day, a cosmic event, the day of the Kefir. Let me tell you when this was issued to all the so-called Nation of Islam Muslims. When I say the brothers know, some that they might not know, and they act like it, so that's wrong. If you don't know, be right, be sincere. So you can say, I was sincere in what I was doing, Noble, or more, but I was sincerely wrong, and be willing to correct yourself. Written and sent to all students in the ministry of Islam in the western of North America by Elijah Muhammad, servant of Allah, dated 4/2/36/1/1863. They know this science, man. They know this science. And if they act like they don't, maybe it's just a lack of wisdom. Like, let me show you the other one. When they talk about what did Fire Muhammad teach, he taught Moorish science. If the Moors don't, if those Muslims don't have this science, because this is all Moorish science. This is what Fire Muhammad taught. He taught Moorish science. And God, the measure of the earth, all this science, man. So we don't have to argue. Ask your brothers that's elders if they under some Nation of Islam, when they call themselves black Muslims, ask them why they don't teach that science. They're supposed to have them. All Muslims, if they study under the Nation of Islam, all it, supreme wisdom lessons by Master Fard Muhammad to his servant, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, for the lost found nation of Islam in North America, the supreme wisdom lessons originated by their savior, Master Fard Muhammad. Their savior, that ain't my savior, that's their savior. Instructions given to the laborers by our Savior. The student must study his assignment. All these lessons that you got to know. All these lessons you have to know. Who is the original man? Who is the colored man? What is the population of the original nation in the wilderness of North America? What is the population of colored people? What is the area in square miles? Man, that's supreme mathematics. That's supreme alphabet. That's supreme mathematics. That's more science, Moors. So be correct and stop arguing over man-made religion. So to my sisters, let's finish this. We're talking about what's on the European fairs. The world knows exactly who you are, Moors, and are waiting for you to awake, Moors. In secret, our existence is ritualized by those who sit in seats of power. Islamic, defenders of Morocco, freeholders by inheritance, birthrights. Islam, I self-law and master. I, from the creator of the universe, representing mother and child. From hence we came. Self, each one of us is a trinity. Father, mother, son. This being the symbol of civilization. Law, the length, angle, and width of the cosmic energies that marked us. Am, the joining of two trinities, male and female principles. The triune, which creates another what? I am, I am, I am I. Master, this being the glyph for the planet Earth, of which we are on, Moors, and aspire to be what? Master navigators of, right? Right? So I'm about to show you my empress is this, and we're going to be done. Just that white fad, when you get these so-called sheiks and all this talk about our sisters can't wear and our empresses can't wear the fez, that's bullcrap. This is about you, empresses. So let's dig. I already established this, that the fez represents the womb, sisters. The four sets of the breathing holes, sisters. My empresses. My Eastern Star empresses. So you wear your fez proudly. The four sets of the breathe holes count up to what? Or spell out the numerologically. The sacred number of 9 plus 4 equals 13. The cycle of the moon and the cycle of the woman in harmony with the moon. The white of the fez, my empresses. The white of the fez. The white of the fez represents the moon and the gold tassel empresses. And the gold tassel empresses, are you hear me? The gold tassel, what it represents? The sun and 360 degrees of knowledge aspiring to upon the earth plane. This is the ball of mud. The ball of mud. Thus, the white fez represents purity, symbolic of the womb empresses. The Moabite nation flag of the matriarch is white with a gold crescent and star empresses. The crescent represents the mother and child, the mother cradling a child, more specifically empresses, the mother and son, as she can easily duplicate herself, but to transform a female egg into a male specimen. In her miracle, that she has created the miracle son, the prodigal son from her womb. Man, Moors, don't get caught up when we talk about immaculate conception. That's man and woman creating life. That's I know who the daddy is. Come on, man, don't get caught up in nobody's connotation. So, sisters, when you think a European is giving you the history, when the daughters of American Revolution, when no disrespect to nobody, but I tell brothers and sisters, why would you join something that's not even from you instead of searching for something that somebody can teach you the right way about who you are? But we join these other groups and they don't tell you the science, and you think the science come from them, and it's not even you. So let me tell you, sisters, when you ponder on the daughters of American Revolution, we find that they began charters as far back as the 1890s here in the Northgate, the Northwest of Mexico, Northwest Africa, the heartland of the temple of the sun and moon empresses. The Moorish nation flag is the flag of her sons, empresses. It is red with a 5-pointed green star. Venus, the mother, in the center. She became unconscious. The flag of her sons was full, empresses. It represents the great blood shed ensured upon the land, empresses, excuse me. Many divisions and tongues, false prophets, and mass destruction, and those likes. This bloodshed was not only in the death of human form of many Moors and empresses, but it represents the flow of shedding of blood to make up other nations. The scepter if you will, was passed to her sons while she lay unconsciousness. It is not the son's fault, Moors, as it was she who caused the great destruction, and it will be our empresses who repairs it. Her awakening will be the great wrath of Allah. That's what our prophet, fallen humanity. What do the prophet have in his hand, Moors? So let's talk about this, that the Daughters of American Revolution is against. I teach this, I don't come from nobody's place. I'm just a teacher. I teach this in the European temples, in their so-called lodges. I teach this I have a friend that's a Prince Hall Masonry, and he finally had to admit that they don't know any science, because their master mason don't even know any science. He only have 32 and 33 degrees, and he know more science, but he's not teaching the brothers that. So whatever. So what the Daughters of American Revolution is against. Listen to this. Their establishment was based on the promotion of historic preservation, education, patriotism. What? Yeah, listen to me when I say, Moors, we don't wear our fez in clandestine or religion. So let's get back in it. Listen, their establishment was based on the promotion of historic preservation, educational, and patriotism. What? That's where you have. They are directly against what? The matriarch, which is the Republican form of the government here in America. A republic is based in matriarchal principles, not patriarchal. Moors, their revolution certainly was not inclusive of the Moorish, Moabite, Asiatic, or the so-called African woman per se, as she still thinks there is a revolution to come, and rightfully so, empresses. And it is her revolution that must occur in order for humanity to live in harmony. Our empresses must wake up and recognize that she is the mother of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and that they are revoluting against her sons, of which are the daughters, were in concubines for. They were concubines. The Moabite, the Moorish, Asiatic, the number 9, the science of the womb, to invoke the powers and the purposes of her womb, to bring in the children of great, as the occurrence can only happen as it relates to her womb, Moors. Anything other than that will bring in something that is not connected to her or her cause. And certainly Moors or empresses, not in a positive manner. The development of the fetus, Muslim, in the 7 stages of development upon waters of her womb, empresses, is then cut from the navel, the NAV/EL, and becomes a navigating L. The 7 waters of the continent, Moors. I hope you follow me with this science. The Daughters of the American Revolution were well aware of the science of the womb, and they utilized it in their revolt against their history, being concubines for the Moorish sons. That's why I tell Moors, the European masonries, the sons of the Daughters of the Revolution, it's your science. Yes, that is their history. And that is why they revolt against you, Moors and empresses, even though the sons treated them fairly well, much better than their own sons. Right? Right? Come on. Even you got to remember that as their own sons were placed in isolation in caves of Europe, where they partook in homosexuality, bestiality, and the likes, they practically had no choice. Exactly, Mo. Naval, NAV, exactly, Mo. The Moorish sons had the women. Don't y'all know that? Don't let nobody connotate you. This is proven when you do studies that unveil the so-called white woman per se, being traversed down the Barbary coast behind the so-called black men. Many saw that a form of slavery or capture for their European daughters. However, it was the course of events regarding their creation and placement, Moors and empresses. The intercourse with them brought about blended nationalities. It had nothing to do with the traveling down and bearing straits of the great diaspora. That didn't happen that way, family. You got to understand that these Albion daughters of the American Revolution wanted to be free from their past history, and they're free to create their own reality. They just made stuff up. So we need to have a different view, Moors. When we see the daughters now wanting to be linked back to the Moorish son, it is in their DNA. It is also the DNA of the Albion sons to have a distaste and genuine fear of the Moorish sons. All men do the abiding of the women. How we know this, Moors? Listen, when I say all men do the abiding of the women, listen to this science. This is a fact. The dude and honest man will admit that, even if you don't want to realize it, that you affected by the woman from the time we are born and while we are in the womb, Moors, being made. So if we are arrogant, possessive, and insecure, she thought him to be that way, right? Much of these things is the will of Allah. It's done in the womb, doing our making. We got to remember that Allah is all law manifested in the flesh. That's arm, leg, arm, head. Everyone with Muslim, Islam, El Bay, and Morocco, amongst other ancient writings upon us. It is clear that they are modern man and we are ancient man. The Daughters of American Revolution are the ones who created the citizenship manual for all those who come into the shores of America. You got to know this science, man. So I hope you know this, empresses. I hope y'all know this wisdom. I hope you know this wisdom. That the Moabite, Moorish, Asiatic, African sisters, it is the European, the Albion daughters that have used the science of the womb and want to take your place. It's in their literature. Not her sons. He only does her body as it ought to be. It was the Moabite, the Moorish women who willed her great strength in negative ways against her sisters, which caused the great fall of humanity, Moors and empresses. It is known as the fall of the great angel. Research the science, empresses. So many wearing the womb as a royal crown, except for the Moorish women. And she is the mother of all civilizations. So you got to know this, Moors. I love you all. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth. Islamism. Peace.